Are you constantly reaching out to your twin? Constantly needing reassurance? Constantly needing 3D communication so that you can trust the connection? Well, this doesn't work. This kind of energy is actually delaying union. What you need to do as the Divine Feminine is pull your energy back. Choose yourself, choose your healing, and choose your growth, and then things will come into harmony. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialize in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the thing. As the twin flame chaser, effectively, or the Divine Feminine, we tend to seek that validation. And that's because of our unworthiness wound. We think that if we don't get 3D contact, if we don't remind them that we're still here, that they're going to forget about us. We have this fear, this insecurity that we're not worthy of being loved, that we're not worthy of our twin flame, and that they're not going to choose us. And that if we don't contact them or communicate with them, they're going to forget about us. They're going to forget about this connection. But look at it this way, and I know this happens for all of us. Like literally, if we're afraid, if we don't speak to them, that they're just going to leave or they're going to find someone else. But you have to remember, this is a 5D connection. This is a twin soul connection. So everything that you're going through, they're going through as well. So if you're constantly thinking about them, they're constantly thinking about you. But when we're in chaser mode, we're actually effectively driving them further away. You know, if we're constantly seeking out for validation, checking up on them online, seeing what they're doing, this is creating disharmony and a disconnection effectively. And it's delaying union more and more. And this is the thing. If we're constantly chasing them, we're ignoring our own healing. We're ignoring our own growth. And it is literally just delaying everything. You know, if we're constantly avoiding our own unworthiness wound, checking up to see if they're okay, it's not going to work. Like, you know, we keep getting frustrated. Why isn't this happening? Why is separation not over? Why is union not here? Why aren't they talking to me? Why don't they like me? All this kind of energy comes up. But all of this energy is coming up to show you what you need to heal. You know what I mean? You don't, like, I've said this already, like, you know, we're here to break the codependent relationship dynamic. But literally, when we're in this needy energy, we're creating more of a codependent relationship dynamic. We have to move out of that. And, you know, I keep saying this, like, we're in teenage energy mode. Like, they're in teenage energy mode, and we're in teenage energy mode, and we're acting like immature kids that have no clue. We're grown adults here, you know what I mean? We need to cop on a little bit. And the objective of the twin flame connection, anyway, is your healing and your growth. But if you're constantly running after them, seeking validation from them, you're not healing and you're not growing, and you're not going to get what you want, because at the end of the day, we need to get to a place of unconditionally loving ourselves and validating ourselves. You know, and it's funny, like, I went through this energy myself. I was in the energy of every single thing my twin flame did, it affected my self-worth, and it was getting detrimental. Every single thing, every action, every non-action hurt me even more, and I was letting it hurt me even more. That's the thing. Like, I was angry with him. I was pissed off with him for treating me in a certain way, but yet I was sitting there letting all of this energy happen. You know what I mean? And we do get so angry. It's like, how dare they treat me like this? You know, fuck them and all this kind of crap. Like, you know, so angry with them. It's like, why are they so cruel? But they're not being cruel. All of this was supposed to happen. Every single part of it. And, you know, they're running because of their own unworthiness wound. But, you know, we're running towards them because of our unworthiness wound. And neither of us are healing. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, they're trying to protect us by running. And as I said, this was a part of the plan. We orchestrated this so that they would trigger us, so that we would heal. Our triggers are here to make us heal, to show us what we need to heal. But if we keep ignoring them, they're never going to be healed. And, you know, I was thinking about this last night because, so I started watching, I'll give you this analogy, like, I started watching Hallmark movies when I started Spiritually Awaken, because obviously I've only ever known a toxic model of love. So watching Hallmark movies, I know they're very corny, and sometimes, you know, old Angela would have been like, ew, 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 they're just no. But I can watch them now. But I went through a phase last year, after meeting my twin in the physical. I went through a lot of insecurity, a lot of unworthiness, a lot of heart chakra openings. So I spent a lot of last year literally screaming at the television while I was watching Hallmark movies. And I mean getting proper angry. Blood-boilingly angry. You know, I had to stop watching these movies for a while. But like, I look back and I see what it was. And it was the same. I started watching Virgin River last year as well. And for the first 2 seasons, while the main characters weren't getting together, they were choosing other paths, or their insecurities, their past, all of this kind of twin flame energy, literally keeping them apart. And I was literally screaming at the television, so angry as to why these people weren't getting together. And I look back now and I'm like, such a reflection of how I was feeling in my twin flame dynamic. And eventually, obviously, the main characters did get together. And I remember the day they did. It was like this heavy weight finally just came off me. And I was like, oh my God, why was I so angry? Why was I so bitter? Why was I so frustrated? Because it always works out in the end. And that was a reflection of my twin flame dynamic. It was like literally, I was effectively pissed off with him, angry with him, upset with him for not choosing our path, for not choosing this, for not choosing that. And when they got together in the film, it just made me realize with this 5D connection, we have to let this shit go. Stop trying to hold on to something or make it a certain way. It's not in our control. It will work out. And that's the one thing we need to remember, is it will work out. So this anger, this frustration, this pain, we're putting ourselves through it for longer periods of time because we're not facing our wounds. And, you know, I was able to watch Hallmark movies again, like, over the last week or two, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not triggered. And I was watching it, and I was like looking at little parts of it going, I would have been triggered by that. And I was like, oh my God, it's because I'm in surrender. And that's what makes sense here. I pulled my energy back, and I had to. And, you know, one of the biggest things we have to do as divine feminines is pull our energy back. Or it's not necessarily the divine feminine, it's the chaser twin. You know, and one of the biggest fears that we have in pulling our energy back is they're going to forget about us. They're going to choose someone else. But this is our ultimate test, because they're not. We have to trust that no matter how far apart we are or how long separation goes, we're always on a soul level together. Always. And they can't forget about us. But if we don't do the inner work and the inner healing, they're not going to do the inner work and inner healing either. So union isn't going to happen. It's going to keep going around in circles over and over again until you pull your energy back. And I know the biggest fear in pulling back is they're going to forget me. But if you're in a disempowered energy, if your unworthiness wound is being triggered over and over and over again, because you're not getting the 3D contact that you want, or they're online and they're not speaking to you, or they're ghosting you, or your message is left unread, and they've seen it, but they're not responding. All of these things are ways of triggering you, but you have to pull your energy back. I mean, this took a long time for me to do, but I was getting more and more depleted every time. My twin behaved in a certain way. It was killing me. It was fucking killing me. And I was like, I had to get to the stage where I was like, oh my God, I'm a grown woman and I'm letting somebody else's behavior dictate my self-worth. And I know this is connected obviously to my inner child wounding and my past relationship wounds, but they're things that I need to heal. I do not want to get into my twin flame union like a fucking soppy little teenager, insecure and codependent. This is not what I want. This is not what any of us want. And, if I was continuing to let him treat me the way he did, or allowing that behavior to continue, I was just getting more and more depleted. I was losing more and more of my power. So I ended up ghosting my twin flame for 2 months, and it was the hardest thing that I ever had to do. But I got my power back. And this is one of the most important things that we have to do as divine feminines, is become empowered. And I've said this before. If you expect your divine masculine to come into his divine masculine energy, his big ball energy, you have to be in your big ball energy. It doesn't work. Like, you can't sit here insecure and expect him to come out of teenage energy mode. It's not going to work. If you're still in insecure teenage energy, you're not going to get the mirrored effect that you want. The more you empower yourself, the more you empower them. So this is so important. And, I love looking back over the last year and seeing my growth, seeing the differences, seeing where I needed to heal and where I wasn't healing and where I was avoiding healing and where I was getting so angry. I had such anger issues. And I love saying I had, because you look back in some of my videos and I was working through my anger issues. I really was. Now, I don't get angry anymore. It was so nice to watch the Hallmark movies yesterday and literally not be triggered by any of them. And I'm like, the energy I wasted, the pain I went through screaming at the television because I was actually effectively screaming at my twin flame connection. And that, the avoidance on both sides, because it's both sides. You know what I mean? If your twin flame is avoiding something, so are you. If your twin flame is running, then so are you. Use it as a reflection. They're going through unworthiness wounds, and so are you. And it's that simple. And it's only in doing your healing and your growth and your transformation, your empowerment, getting to your empowerment, that will help empower them as well. But it doesn't work otherwise. It really doesn't. You know what I mean? And you're getting more and more, you're getting weaker and weaker the more you allow the connection to go around in circles. And that's it. And it's not an overnight fix. You know what I mean? Because I've done this before. I on and off throughout my journey, I pulled my energy back. So I stopped stalking his page, or I stopped checking to see, for evidence, was he online and all this kind of stuff. And, I put my energy back and I feel lighter, I feel freer. I actually, what I found as well is whenever I pull my energy back in that sense, because I wasn't texting all the time or I wasn't chasing in that sense, but I was constantly waiting by the phone kind of energy, waiting for him to text, waiting for him to reach out, and then checking online to see was he online. And it's like, oh, he was online and now he doesn't talk to me, all this kind of stuff. And I was just spiraling. So if I was just taking my energy back from that, I would actually end up feeling more empowered, but also our 5D connection would get louder. So anytime I wasn't in needy energy, I could hear him more on the telepathic side. So that, I kept doing that, and then I kept going back, and then I kept doing it again. It's like going around in circles. It's continuously going around in circles because, I pull my energy back, but then I'd be like, oh, I want to do it again. So, I had to kind of, get the willpower, get the strength to not actually, be in the chasing energy and that neediness energy. So for me to actually ghost him for 2 months was absolutely, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It really was. I went through all the insecurity. I went through all the pain. I was like, oh my God, he's never going to reach out again. What if he never reaches out again? And I was completely freaked out. But I was able to regain my strength, heal my unworthiness wound, and come into surrender mode. So I see the benefit of what what taking my energy back did. I really do. And it's I'm in a completely different energy now. You know what I mean? The last couple of times I spoke to my twin, I was in an empowered energy. I wasn't in the teenage energy like, oh my God, let him control, let him do this, let him do this. And it was just like waiting for his reply. I was like, no, I'm in my power. I'm a divine feminine goddess of a woman. I'm going to do that. I'm going to live in that energy. And I feel so much better. Now, if he doesn't reply, I'm not upset. I know that he's going through stuff and he's healing as well. And most of the time that we're in separation, I end up going through another healing cycle, which is obviously important. But it's not depleting me. I keep getting stronger every time. And I'm not in an energy of everything he does is hurting me because I've healed my unworthiness wound now. You know what I mean? Like, his behavior can't hurt me anymore because I know now, and this is the thing we have to remember, their behavior is not a reflection of how they feel about you. It's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. They're not choosing themselves. They're not empowering themselves. And this is another thing actually I just remembered. When we're in that constant neediness, pushing energy towards them, this gives them the energy of, she'll always be there, so I'm not going to do the work. And this is probably unconscious, but they're lazy in their growth. They're like, I don't need to do my meditation, or I don't need to do my inner work. I don't need to do my healing, because she'll always be there. Maybe in a year or two when I'm fucking feeling like I could be arsed doing anything, I'll do it. Because, she'll always be there. I'll leave her there on the back burner till I'm ready. That's the energy they're in when you're constantly chasing. Whereas you pull your energy back and they start to feel that your energy is gone, they're like, okay, wait now. She's not coming back this time. I have to get my shit together to meet her at her level. And that's what it is. They can't approach you. They're like energetically prevented from approaching you while you glow up, unless they glow up with you. That's a fact. Do you know what I mean? This whole connection is about you finding your mission, you finding your purpose, you doing your healing, you becoming the best version of yourself. That's what they need to do as well. But if you're in a low vibrational energy, chasing, they're not going to do the fucking work. They're going to sit there and go, maybe tomorrow. She'll always be there, maybe tomorrow. Whereas you pull your energy back, they start to kind of go, shit, she's going to leave. And this isn't, like, when we detach, we're not leaving. But there is the energy of here. This is my life. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to heal my wounds, and I'm going to do my purpose. You can stay where you are, or you can come with me. That's the energy we give to our twin flame. And that's the important energy here. You have to get to a stage where you do not need them, but you want them, obviously. But you have to get to a stage where you're okay whether they come back or not. This is your life, your healing journey. You need to empower yourself. And they will empower themselves to join you, because they cannot... They're not going to be sitting there twiddling their thumbs anymore. They're going to have to do the work. They're not going to do the work until you do the work. If they see you glowing up and, moving further away from them, they're going to run after you. That's a fact. That's the energy we want. So trust that. You know what I mean? And this isn't us being mean or being revengeful or anything. We're not doing this to hurt them. We're doing this so that we're no longer hurting ourselves. We're empowering ourselves. We're going after our purpose. And our divine masculine will meet us there. But we're literally, if we're in low vibrational chasey energy, he is meeting us where we are, in this shitty energy. If we continue to allow this behavior, and if we continue to become disempowered, if we continue to ignore our unworthiness wound, they're going to still continue to ignore their healing as well. So choose your healing, choose yourself, and choose your growth. And they will choose the same, because they do not want to lose you, and they will not forget about you. Your glow up will make them run quicker towards you and do their own inner work. So trust the process, trust this path, because it will always work out. True love will always work out once we do the inner work. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. It does nothing more than to help on your path. Also, I have a second channel called Aligning with Angie, where I'll be sharing a free meditation every week. The information for that is in the description box.